On late, but it's Strathmore coming away. Strathmore goes on for a very solid win. Jetwings held on to second. My Little Friend just third over Country Melody, who got out late, and then Charity Joy. Next was Go Baby Go from
Chad. Tell me, your dad, what advice did he give you about racing in Hong Kong? He must have given you some advice.
Yeah, he has. Prior to when I left Australia, I spent a week in Sydney, and yeah, we had lots of long talks about what it's like here, you know, the track work side of things and the races and the rail placements on both Happy Valley and Sha Tin, and also the rating system. He's given me a lot of advice, the best way to manage your bookings for the races, and yeah, he's been very helpful. Obviously, he was very successful over here. I think in his first season he finished third on the premiership, so he did very well over here, and it was good to get that insight off him.
So what do you think was the best piece of advice he gave you? If you had to pick one, what would it be?
Probably the rating system, and explaining to me, you know, how important it is, how much a horse can improve, jump out the ground when he drops in class, and all that kind of thing. So it was very interesting.
So your family has been a great support system for you, right? And your sister's here now, and your mum?
Yep. At the moment, my mum's here. She's been here about 2 weeks, and my little sister as well. I think my little sister goes home at the end of this week, but then the big one comes. So it's good to have them over here while I'm still getting settled in. And mum's good. She's doing all the cooking and cleaning, so it's nice.
When you said the big one's coming soon, you looked a little horrified. Does it scare you?
Yeah, she's keeps me on my toes, that's for sure. She, no, Whitney, she's really good. I'm very close to her. She's loves to go racing as well, so I'm sure she'll come support me at Sha Tin on the weekend. How
does she keep you on your toes?
Well, she makes sure I'm always, you know, on the straight and narrow, and she's like my dad, really. She makes sure I'm always doing the right thing and well dressed and all that kind of stuff.
You're not hanging out with Georgie Moore, are you?
No, not, of course not.
Okay, he's not leading you astray.
No, not yet.
Okay, the other person I heard who helped you a lot is an old friend of mine, BT, Brent Thompson. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Yes, he's been my mentor back in Melbourne. Obviously, through both our connections with the Hayes Stable in Lindsay Park, BT helped me mostly through my bad suspension runs, and we'd catch up for coffee a number of times, and he'd give me advice and talk to me and try and help me through it, and he definitely did. A few golf games together as well. He enjoys his golf, as do I. But he's fantastic. He's a true gentleman.
Well, you couldn't get a better mentor than BT, could you?
No, he's a great man.
And about your suspensions that you had, so you put up a poster of Terry Bailey in your bedroom?
No, not quite, but back when I think just first come out of my apprenticeship, I had one season in particular where I got far too many. Some that could easily have been avoided, but I guess it was all a learning curve, and past that now, and yeah, BT's the one I have to thank.
What did you learn from the suspensions, if anything?
Well, obviously, I was still quite young. I think I was just fresh out of my apprenticeship. I was 19 or 20, and just to probably testing the waters too much and just pushing that line a little bit too far. A couple of them were quite lengthy ones too, and it's definitely not ideal when you get those long ones during Spring Carnival, which is where I got mine, because you miss out on so much. And like I said, that's all past me now, and I have to look forward.
Strathmore charged to the lead from Jet Wings. My Little Friend runs on late, but it's Strathmore coming away. Strathmore goes on for a very solid win. Jet Wings held on to second. My Little Friend just third over Country Melody, who got out late, and then Charity Joy. Next was Go Baby Go from Disciples 12. Lovely to Lovely Carga Force Weekend, along with Victorious, who was always...
What do you remember about Hong Kong from when you were here last?
Yeah, I can remember a fair bit. It's been a long time. Actually, I came and visited my Uncle Jeff when he rode. It was probably about 4 years ago. So had a little visit in between my time when I lived here, but I can remember a fair amount. Obviously, I'm now involved with the racing side, which I haven't been before, but in terms of the city, quite a bit. I remember all the areas and some of the roads, but still got a lot to learn.
And what was it like living with Dad when he had a bad day at the races?
No, Dad's very professional. He takes it well. He leaves his bad day at the races.
So for you, that first day riding in Sha Tin, that first ride, what was it like riding against people who are probably your uncles, like Uncle Douglas, for instance? Not
Yeah.
to say that Dougie is old.
No, it was special. I'd only ridden with Douglas once or twice before in Australia when he's visited for a Group 1 race, but obviously all the other exceptional jockeys that are here is really good. I like to compete with the best. It makes me have to lift my game, and it's a good challenge. But the first meeting was very special, with the whole ceremony of the season opening prior to the first race. It was a great build-up, and I got a big buzz out of that.
Lots of gonging.
Yeah,
lots of banging of the gong.
Yes, there was.
Yeah. And when those barriers flew for your first race, what was it like?
Yeah, it was good. I was only on a long shot in my first ride and finished midfield, but it was good. It was very hot that day. It was, and I had 10 rides, so I was pretty non-stop throughout the day, but thoroughly enjoyed it. Learned what my first taste of what Hong Kong's like.
And when you rode that first winner, I mean, it'll be silly to ask how you felt because you felt ecstatic, but can you take us through the run?
Yeah, well, obviously he's a very nice horse, but he'd never run over 1,000 metres before, and I trialled and galloped the horse prior to the race, and I was very confident he'd run very well, but my only worry was whether the 1,000 would be too short and if he'd be able to keep up early. But as soon as the gates opened, he jumped very quickly, he travelled, and he was always going to win. Travelled just behind the speed, and when I let him go, he rounded the leaders up very comfortably, and when he hit the front, still quite green, he wanted to look around and wonder, but it was actually quite soft in the end.
Do you think there's a bias with the outside barrier? Because I didn't think you took him onto the outside. You came sort of in the middle, didn't you?
Yeah, well, I drew barrier 5 and came across with Go Baby Go, and I ended up with cover, and then obviously because I was going so well, I had to improve, and my only option was from that barrier to come around and back towards the inside, but I was going that well. I think I could have won wherever I was.
And then after Sha Tin, a few days later, you won at Happy Valley. What's the difference between the two tracks?
Yeah, well, that was my first ever spin around the track here at Happy Valley. Completely different to Sha Tin. Sha Tin's a lovely, big, spacious track, and Happy Valley obviously is very tight and quick. But my first meeting at Happy Valley, I had 6 rides. It was good to get a win in one of them. Yung Sing drew barrier 1, travelled midfield, and I was able to get off the fence and get going around the turn, and he was pretty strong to the line, so it was a good win.
They backed it for a stack.
Yeah, I believe so. I heard that its odds came crashing in late, so it was good to know the punters had a bit of faith in me.
And riding against people like Zach and Dougie and Callan, Moreira. What do you feel? What are you learning? Are you learning anything?
Oh, of course. I mean, they're the best in the world, and just to be, competing with them is great. And I guess now I have to prove that I can match it with them, and hopefully the winners can keep coming, and I can just keep riding well, and do well in my stint in Hong Kong.
How do they treat you at track work and stuff? Does Zach give you advice? He gives everyone advice.
Yeah, no, they're all a great bunch of blokes. They've all been very helpful, Zach especially. They've all been helpful and pretty upfront in their advice. They've all tried to help me, which is great. So,
Is Callan trying to take rides off you?
not that I'm aware of, but maybe behind closed doors he is.
And do you think Hong Kong's more competitive than Australia?
Yes, I do. It's obviously a lot smaller and tighter, and there's not much room for error. So as soon as you make one, there's 6 world-class jockeys to replace you. So you always have to be up on your game. And yeah, in Australia it's very competitive as well, but there's a lot more rides and horses and trainers to feed all the jockeys. Whereas here it's a lot more close-knit. But obviously it's the ultimate racing, I believe, in the world, and it's the toughest and the best, so that's what you'd expect.
Do you think you're going to be here for the international races? You will be, right?
Yeah, well, I've got a 6-month contract, so that takes me to February, so yes, I will.
So that should be exciting for you, riding in the internationals?
Yeah, hopefully I can get some rides in the future races and get amongst it.
And Chad, do you think that people grow up very quickly in Hong Kong? You have to in any business. Do you think you'll have to grow up quite quickly and understand how the way the local owners work, and you're only as good as your last win, right?
Yeah, for sure. I'd agree with that. And obviously, you have your runs, you have your ups and downs, but obviously when you're down, you've got to stay positive and keep believing in yourself and turn that around, get back to riding winners again. So mentally, another great bit of advice Dad gave me was to always got to be positive and keep your chin up when times get tough, and keep believing in yourself and keep trying your best.
Charlie's trying to bridge the gap. It's Jung Sing in front from Oxford Charlie, and Jung Sing wins it over Oxford Charlie. Interesting photo third. Choice X Checker probably just scraped in from Glorious Victory.